Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco. Dish Out on Movies, the only movie review show on YouTube to review movies in terms of food. It's just Marco here once again, and this has been one of those days where I've had to sit around all day waiting for Safi to do something. I watched the movie like hours ago, so I saw this article pop up and I thought, there is no way that I am not going to be talking about this. I mean, it is just so bad. It's not even funny, guys. Like, it is so pathetic. It is so shitty and stupid. It's like the epitome of stupidity in the film industry right now. And so we're going to break this down. I hardly ever do videos about articles. I hardly ever do videos about interviews. But this is one that really, really deserves it, okay? This is on a website called gamesradar.com. I'm just going to call it gaydar.com because that's what I'd like to call it. It fits more at this point. And for some reason, they have this section of their site called Total Film, and the tagline is very misleading because the tagline says, the smarter take on movies. And you think, is it really going to be the smarter take on movies? Well, in 2024, probably not. Now it's going to be the brain dead, stupid take about like, oh, it's all about more representation. The most important topic in the movie making industry, guys, is more representation. It's not storytelling. It's not character. It's not how people don't want to go to the movies. It's not about the destruction of physical media, censorship. It's not about the stupid intimacy coordinators being forced into the industry for no reason. It's all about more representation. And so this is one of those interviews where, one of the biggest problems with interviews with actors is that the person doing the interview can set the agenda. I interviewed both of my actors that I've worked with so far on my film, and I just asked them like basic questions and I let them answer like whatever they wanted, and I didn't press them or anything. I just it was very casual. But you can tell that with these interviews that they write these articles about, and I'm still sick, by the way. Still sick, hashtag. And but you can tell that this article and this whole interview, it was all the idea of the interview person themselves. Like, oh, what's really important to talk about with a new horror movie? More representation. And so let's get into this article. The Omen prequel star says it's about fucking time women dominate the horror genre. And that's how you know that this article is going to have some brain dead bullshit in it. And to start off, I have not seen the new Omen movie. The only movie in that series that I've seen so far is the remake. And so I just didn't feel like it was appropriate for me to watch the prequel. So, yeah, I probably won't watch it. And I definitely won't be watching it or supporting it after this interview, too. And then the tagline is exclusive. The first Omen's Nell Tiger Free speaks on female representation in the horror genre. I mean, that is just already like, because you think about like every single horror movie practically that's ever been made is all revolved around women in some way, shape, or form. Like, it always boils down to women. You think about Halloween. The opening scene in Halloween is a little brother killing his sister, and the whole movie is all about another sister of his that he comes back to kill. It is all revolved around a woman. She's the main character in the story, even though Michael Myers is the main villain, even though Dr. Loomis is a very prominent character, she is the star of the movie. She is the main topic. It's all about her. Like, the whole sequel, she's lying around in the hospital, and people are talking about how, you know what, she's actually his sister, and she's gonna get fucked up. And, like, that's what the whole movie revolves around. Nightmare on Elm Street. What's Nightmare on Elm Street revolved around? Well, that movie's a little bit more complex because, you know, the parents killed Freddy, and then he wants to come back for revenge. But still, the main character in that movie is a woman. It's Nancy Thompson. It's all about her. Without her, everyone would have been killed in the movie. Nothing else would have happened. And you think about it, at the end of that movie, you know, there is that one guy, you know, the sheriff, and he's, I think he's her father. I can't remember, though, because, you know, I haven't seen that movie in a long time, because I used to watch that movie so much that, like, I just got really tired of it. But I do remember that character, and he was framed as, like, the villain the whole movie, because he didn't believe her. And so that's another thing. It's like, that movie was all about how men didn't believe women and how it was bad, and then she fights the bad guy by herself at the end, and she defeats him. You think about Scream. That movie is all revolved around a woman. It's revolved around Sidney Prescott and her mother, Maureen, and how her mother was killed in the whatever. I can't remember that whole complicated story with the mother, because I haven't seen that movie in a while either. But, like, it was all revolved around, like, the motivation all came from the mother and killing the mother in the past, and now the daughter, they want to kill her as well. And then you think that maybe these two guys that are, like, really prominent characters in the movie, maybe they're going to be the heroes at the end. But then they're both the killers. And Randy, the other, like, male character, what does he get at the end of Scream? Well, he saves the day somewhat, and then he just gets friend-zoned. He gets friend-zoned by the main female character. And then, you know, Deputy Dewey, he gets into a relationship with Gail for the rest of the series. But, like, if you think about it, every single horror movie is all revolved around women. Even the Saw movies. Like, the Saw movies started off with, in the first movie, there was just this guy, and he got cancer, and he was sick and tired of people not appreciating their lives, and so he put everyone in saw traps. But then, guess what happened, guys? In the third one, they made it all revolve around how Amanda, his protege, kills him, no, she doesn't kill him, but she basically, like, derails his entire plan. She fucks everything up. She just ruins everything. It all revolves around his relationship with her, though. And then in the fourth one, it ends up that John's entire motivation the whole time was his wife. So a woman. It was all about how his wife Jill, this drug addict named Cecil, accidentally made her have a miscarriage. And so that really upset him, and that turned him into the bad guy that he became. So his whole motivation is all revolved around a woman. Like, if he didn't have a wife, maybe it would never have happened. Maybe he just would have died. So, like, it's just really irritating, like, this constant victimhood, this constant state of, like, us women and horror and everything in the film industry, we just don't get anything. It's never about us, even though everything is about us. You know, like, even Deputy Dewey in the Scream movies, like, they killed off Randy in the second movie after he was still friend-zoned. They killed off, or they got rid of Patrick Dempsey. They have to bring him back now because they're desperate. But then they killed off Dewey in the fifth movie because he was a man, and they didn't want to have a male main character alongside these strong whammon characters. And so, like, to pretend like horror movies aren't completely revolved around women is the most ignorant, stupid, dumbass thing I've ever fucking heard. There's literally an entire fucking month that I'm so sick and tired of seeing all over Facebook. There's an entire fucking month called Women in Horror Month to celebrate all these female characters that just every single horror movie completely revolves around these female characters. If you think about it, and I want to challenge people, because if you think about it, there is really not one positive male character besides Ash from Evil Dead. Ash is still alive, I believe. His character is very popular. People really celebrate him. But, Dewey, he's dead. They fucked that up. Randy, they killed him. Dr. Loomis, they tainted him because in the fifth one, they made him use a little girl as bait, which was terrible. And then just thinking about, there are no positive male characters in these horror movies. It is always just the female star. The female star. There's literally a term called final girl. It's not final guy. It's final girl. And yet somebody, let's check who's the author of this shitty-ass article. Jamie Graham. It could be a girl, it could be a guy. You'd never know nowadays, and of course, yeah, I'm not going to say anything more about that, but to say that women aren't represented in the horror genre is probably the most idiotic thing I've ever heard. It's such a stupid thing to say. It blows my mind that there are people this stupid in Hollywood. Or I guess this person who did the interview, she's a part of gaydar.com. Now let's read the article. Starring in the upcoming female-led horror movie, The First Omen, Nell Tiger-Free thinks it's high time that women are properly represented in the genre. Now let's talk about this. So, one thing that's really weird nowadays is that instead of talking about the story and the plot of a movie, we just focus on the gender and the race of people who made the movies. So one of the things that's happened a lot in Hollywood nowadays is segregation, plain and simple. If you make a movie about a man, you have to be a man. If you make a movie about a woman, you have to be a woman. There's no two ways around it. So you notice that this female-led horror movie, that's what they mentioned. They don't say starring in the upcoming prequel to The Omen, The First Omen. They say in the upcoming female-led horror movie, as if there's no other female-led horror movies around. Isn't that retarded, guys? How retarded could you get? Let's look at the list, too. I mean, I've watched some movies this year. I've watched 10 movies. Let's look at the other horror movies for this year. And Letterboxd is taking forever to load. So I've watched 10 movies so far. Let's see. Ghostbusters, if you call that horror. Phoebe, a little girl, is the star of that movie. The male characters kind of take a back seat, except for Dan Aykroyd's character. Godzilla x Kong, that movie stars a woman, Rebecca Hall. She's the main character. It's all about her, and it ends up being all about that little girl going to the Mothra land. So that's all revolved around women too. Festival of the Living Dead. All about these two women going to a festival, and they're the main characters. The only other male character who ends up surviving is the little boy, who's the brother of one of them. So that's another female-led horror movie. And then there's Immaculate, with Sydney Sweeney. That's another female-led horror movie. So I don't even see where are the male-led horror movies, you know? Like, if female-led horror movies are so rare in the genre and in the film industry, where are the male-led horror movies? That's what I'd like to fucking know. So, yeah. Like, I think the only male-led horror movies I've seen so far this year are, like, from the past. Like, Edward Scissorhands, I guess you could call that a male-led horror movie. Even though a woman starts off the plot, because she brings Edward to town, and then he ends up falling in love with the woman, and she kind of helps him out a little bit, but then she fucks him over at the end. But, like, still, this whole thing about, like, how women aren't in horror movies is, like, it's so stupid. It's, like, it's mind-boggling that someone could say this with a straight face, or that someone could publish this in an article and even expect to be taken seriously. So, okay, here's the quote. "It's about fucking time." It's like, who says that? Who fucking says that, guys? Like, it's about fucking time what? And it says, Free tells Total Film in our new retarded issue out this Friday, which features a remake on the cover, Roadhouse. And guess what, guys? In the week where there's a female-led horror movie coming out, what do they choose to put on the cover of this magazine? Men. 2 men. Jake Gyllenhaal and that Conan McGregor guy. Isn't that fucking hilarious, guys? Like, oh, we're all about how females need to be represented in the film industry, but then on the cover of our magazine, we're going to feature a film poster with 2 guys on it. That's really fucking smart. And then she says, "Unfortunately, you know, it took for the rest of the world to catch up with what was so blatantly obvious, which is that women know what's scary." And it's like, really? Really, lady? Do women really know what's scary anymore? What's scary to women nowadays? Getting talked to on the street by a random guy, that's considered scary. It's called catcalling. Like, if you just go up to a woman and say, "Hey, how's it going? I really like your shirt. It's really cute." Uh-oh, that guy's a predator. He's a creep. Call the police, call the police. Like, do women really know what's scary nowadays? Like, what do women think is scary nowadays? Like, getting called the wrong pronouns, pretty much? Like, that's the only thing I can think of that women think is scary nowadays. Like, it's really hard to say, like, what other things do women think are scary? I don't know. Like, oh, a Republican becoming president? That's really scary for them, too. So, yeah, I really can't think of anything else that women think is scary. So, like, I think that's kind of bullshit, you know? And I think to say that only women know what's scary is the most misandrist thing that I've ever heard, too. I mean, that's very discriminatory to just say that only women know what's scary. And what does that have to do with the movie anyway? Like, is that implying that, like, this movie is only good because the people who wrote it were born with vaginas? Like, that's so stupid. It's just so dumb. Like, how dumb can you get? Like, because in my opinion, like, there's people, anyone knows what's scary because everyone is scared of something. I had anxiety disorder for like half the year last year. I think I would know what's scary too, by the way. You know, I have tons of fears. I don't like heights. I don't like spiders. I don't like centipedes. I don't like home invasion for obvious reasons. And, you know, to say that, like, only women know what's scary is really, really weird. And then she says, and it's nice that we're expanding from women only being utilized in horror films to run with their tits out or to get cut in half by somebody. I don't have any idea of what she's referring to, by the way, because, like, what horror movie this year has a woman with her tits out running around somewhere? There's none. None! In Immaculate, Sydney Sweeney, she takes a shower in front of the other nuns because she's all dirty because she faked a miscarriage. That wasn't running around with her tits out, so fuck off with that shit. Festival of the Living Dead, that the secondary girl had a big booty that I like to look at the whole time, but like there was no boobs in that movie. Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, obviously they're not going to show a child naked on screen, and then the mother never gets naked in the whole movie. So what horror movie came out in 2024 where the only thing that happens with the female characters is that they run around nude? Like, it's just so ignorant. It's just so stupid. And again, stupid shit. I hate this shit. I hate these types of fucking idiots. This girl, Nell Tiger Free, she shouldn't be allowed to ever be in a horror movie again. Because with all the stuff that she has said, she's completely discredited all the women who put so much hard work and who have so much more talent than her and have so much more knowledge of horror. She has discredited all those women. All those women that you see at horror conventions because they can't get work anymore. They just do like smaller budget things. All those women who put all this work into their profession and into being in these horror movies, you're completely discrediting what they did because some of them had their boobs out at one point in the fucking movie. Do people get naked in the first Omen? Let's see. I'm going to look it up. Because if they did, then that's going to be pretty funny because she's saying that women shouldn't have to be naked in a horror film. But what about her movie? And keep in mind, they couldn't even get naked by themselves. They had to have intimacy coordinators help them, even though they're adults. So let's go to IMDb. Check out this movie. And then the thing where she says get cut in half by somebody, the only movie that I can think of that she's talking about is a Terrifier. And, I don't know what she's talking about with that, because, like, that girl wasn't the main character. The main character was a girl, and she survived the movie, right? Or, I can't even remember, because I hated that movie a lot. Yeah. So let's get down to it. I was kind of disappointed, because I thought maybe this movie could be good, and I was like, maybe I'll check that out, but I'm like, no thanks. I'm not watching a movie made by, motion picture rating, rated R for graphic, violent content, grisly, disturbing images, and brief, graphic nudity. Look at that. Look at this fucking Hippocratic cunt right here. What the fuck? And oh my goodness, 2 close-ups of a female vagina with a creature emerging out of it. Very graphic. Oh no, you didn't, Nell. Oh no, you didn't. So it's okay for a woman to show her full vag on screen, but it's not okay for a blonde woman to run around with her boobs out. Like, are you fucking kidding me with that shit? Fuck off. Okay, is this article almost done? Yeah, it's pretty much done. So then it says, directed by Arkasha Stevenson, the first Omen stars Game of Thrones actor. Oh, we can't even say actress now, by the way. Like, she's an actress, she's a woman, but they're going to put Game of Thrones actor. Free is a young American woman who is sent to Rome to begin her life as a nun. However, when she arrives, we just rip off Rosemary's Baby again, and for the millionth time, because we can't do anything else in a Christian horror movie for some fucking reason. And then, like, all the rest of it is just filler bullshit. But then, oh look, they're showing the cover too. Like, both parts of the cover are just completely revolved around men. Like, they have a little tiny caption where they talk about Love Lies Bleeding. They have a little tiny caption where they talk about other starring female-led movies. But then on both pages of this cover, it's just completely men. Men, men, men. So, yeah. This is the editor-at-large of Total Film. And let's see, what are her qualifications? Nothing. It just says she's written stuff before. Like, it says she appeared on podcasts exploring the wondrous worlds of occult and horror. But, like, what horror movies has she actually even seen? And what horror movies is she even talking about if she thinks that females aren't in horror movies? Like, you'd have to be living under a rock to think that females aren't in horror movies. Like, every single horror movie, even my movie, all revolves around a woman. You know, spoiler alert, but, like, yeah. So anyways, that is dumb fuck article of the week, or article of the year. There probably won't be any other stupid-ass articles for the rest of the year where I'll do, like, a 30-minute rant video about it, but just so you guys know, I am paying attention. When I see idiots say bullshit like this, I am going to speak up about it. I'm not going to let them sit there and say, like, oh, women in horror movies, there's no such thing as a woman being in a horror movie before the first Omen. You know, just like with that woman from last year who was in the Scream movie, that female Randy, when she was like, I never really liked horror movies before because they're just all about white men, and that's just not interesting to me. You know, like, I'm sick and tired of, like, this stupidity that has been allowed to, like, I mean, just such an ignorant statement, and to put this in public, to say this to where everyone is going to be able to reference this article for the rest of time, it's really, really embarrassing. Because you think about all the older actresses who put so much hard work into what they do, and they're going to look at this article and say, what is she talking about? Women don't dominate the horror genre? Are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? So anyways, please like this video, comment, tell us what you thought of the movie. You know, I had to watch the shittiest movie today too. I can't wait to review it because I just can't wait to rip it to shreds. Because I can't stand watching these bad movies, and then you have these interviews from these idiot actors who don't know what they're talking about, and it's really, really irritating how bad the movie industry has gotten. And then please subscribe to our channel if you'd like to see more honest videos like this. Goodbye, everybody. See you soon. Oh, yeah. There was this one Nimrod who commented on my Goosebumps slappy pitch video, which was just like something I did for fun. And they said one of the most oddest things. I mean, I don't... If you guys saw that video, you know, it probably wasn't the greatest pitch. I mean, because I rarely ever outline a whole movie before I write it. You know, I always, like, just have a bunch of random ideas that I connect when I'm actually, like, writing a full script. I never really, like, outline the whole thing before I write it like that. And, but it's funny because I'm pretty sure that script, that story had something to do with Goosebumps and that Slappy was the main character. Well, some Nimrod commented and said that he said that it was a dumpster fire of an idea, which is fine. You know, that's his personal opinion, which is kind of unbelievable because it sounds a little bit like he didn't listen to the whole video. And because that's what happens a lot of times, too, is that people will listen to like 2 minutes and then they'll click off the video. And the reason why I say that is because I can see that visibly on the YouTube Studio app. And so I can see all these people who take things out of context all the time. And this guy also said that the story had nothing to do with Goosebumps. And I thought, that is the most dishonest, disingenuous thing I've ever heard. To say that, like, this story that's all about Slappy and is all about, like, what if Slappy was for adults? Like, to say that that has nothing to do with Goosebumps is just the most ignorant thing I've ever heard on this channel, probably. Because, like, that's just straight up, like, disingenuous. Like, you couldn't say that to me in real life with a straight face and say that that story had nothing to do with Goosebumps. Like, regardless of what you thought about it, if you liked it or if you disliked it, like, did that story really not have anything to do with Goosebumps when Slappy was the main character? And there was all these little references and these things, like how it ended with him becoming the white worm that he did in the second book, and with that and stuff like that. It's like, did it really have nothing to do with Goosebumps? I mean, that's just completely bizarre. So anyways, yeah. Goodbye, everybody. See you soon.